Yo, what's up guys, Neon Blitz here, back with another Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra video. Season 5 is less than a week away, so I wanted to give what I hope to see in the Season 5 patch notes because there's a lot I want to see change for this game, both some buffs, some nerfs, and just overall the system mechanic changes and adjustments that I hope to see for Season 5 because there's a lot that needs to be fixed with this change. So let's just get straight into it. The first kind of big change I want to see are changes to all of the divine combo cards. I feel like this is one of the less talked about aspects of the game that I think really is impacting kind of meta and the state of everything. The divine combo cards are very unbalanced, not because they're so overpowered, it's that some of these options are just worthless. And I want to see a lot of them buff, maybe even bring down some of the top tier ones, because we're kind of back in this meta problem that we were having from the launch of the game till Season 3, where you're seeing all the same combo cards every game pretty much, and you're not seeing any of these other cards that maybe you should be seeing. So what do I exactly mean? Well, if you look at the card set 1, you have, for the red card first slot, you have Super Snowball, which, you know, you get a kill or assist and you get more damage up. Or Lightning Swift, where you do a burst of damage after you vanishing stuff. You never see Lightning Swift. If you ever see Lightning Swift, you kind of know the person is trolling, because the damage that this does is just not worth it for when you could have some more bulkiness from too easy or build up. And people could argue, even if you lose your Snowball stacks, you know, you could then shift Lightning Swift. No, just stay on Snowball. Just because you lost your stacks once, you're still probably decently ahead. Even if you have, like, if you lost 5 stacks, yeah, that's a decent amount of power gone. But you should be far enough ahead that you should be able to get your Snowball stacks back anyways to get your damage back. There's no reason to ever go Lightning Swift. So I would like to see Lightning Swift buffed in some significant way to make it maybe even a potential option. I think it's just too niche of a card because you have to Vanishing Step. And in this game, Vanishing Step, you can use it offensively, yes, but I feel like most of the time you're using it to reposition defensively. Or if you are planning to use it offensively, that is a big risk considering it get down for a couple of seconds. And having it just be a small burst of damage is not that great. So hopefully they can either buff this card in a significant way or even change how it exactly works, because it's been useless pretty much the entire time the game's been out. The next set of combo cards that I think are useless are not useless, but I think need to be buffed are Strategic Escape and Gekishin High. And if we're talking about the blue cards, I honestly think both the blues of the card set 1, Strategic Escape and Gekishin High, and Art of Decoy and Epic Hunter 2, the blue cards from card set 2, all need to be buffed or changed in some way, especially the card set 2, which we'll get to. But the main problem with the blue cards is, as a technical character, you pretty much are always just going the green tanky build-up card, or green combo cards anyways, like build up, steel skin, solid barrier, defense up, which we'll get to defense up later. The defense cards are just too powerful on technical characters because you actually get to live. I've gone against some games where either technical characters full red or full blue, and they just die instantly the moment they get caught. And in a team fight, they will be some of the first to die. Well, if you go tanky, you can live some of the bursts and to provide more utility to your team because you're alive. And even just looking at the blue card sets, especially card set 2, the benefits they give are just not worth it. Strategic Escape, you gain more movement speed when your back is turned to a nearby enemy, so it lets you run away faster. Theoretically, technical characters are already faster than all the other characters in the game, so they could just get out anyways. And if you really need to run away from a fight, tankiness from like build up or even too easy would just help you get out. And Gekishin High, lowering your cooldowns when you push, it does sound good. Yes, it sounds great, and it is a good card. It's a sleeper pick. The problem is the other options are just way too strong for, you know, especially in a game like this where if you see an enemy go Gekishin High or they've been split pushing all the time, you're gonna have someone defending, so you're not gonna be getting the benefits of this. So it's a good like surprise pick, maybe late game, but it's not that great. And I think it's one of those cards that may need more retooling, because just on paper it just doesn't kind of work. It does its purpose well, but once you get to late game, people start defending, this card's worthless unless you get a surprise pick or anything like that. So it's in a weird spot. Then for the tank cards, build up. You see this all the time. You saw it during Season 2. It then got nerfed. and then you're seeing it back again just because they made back farming so much stronger, so it's so much easier to get your build-up stacks back. Versus too easy, that just gives you some extra health when you're low. The cooldown is too long. 30 seconds is a long time. That's like some characters' ult comes back in 60 seconds. So think about this. This is half of an ultimate. The cooldown's way too long for this, and I imagine that's why a lot of players have kind of bounced off of it. I remember when they did nerf build-up, people were going too easy at first. It's just the cooldown's way too long for it, and I get it. This card could be really strong and annoying to deal with, so I get why they don't want it to be too strong, but I can see it'd be kind of cool if they buff it anyways. Then build-up, they could nerf it again, just because they back farming is so strong. They very easily could. They could keep it the same and maybe nerf back farming. But build-up is a very strong card. You know, from the first card set, you're pretty much always seeing Super Snowball and build-up. Card set 2. This is the card set that has a lot of similar issues to the card set 1. If you're going damage, you're pretty much always seeing Giant Slayer just because it does damage proportion to the max HP. And every time you level up in this game, you're getting more HP. So you're getting more damage just naturally the longer the game goes on, because the enemies are going to get more and more HP. And plus, it also helps you against tanks that are going to be super bulky and annoying to deal with. I mean, this might be the difference between letting you kill a God Vegeta before his passive goes off and he gets the regen. You know, Giant Slayer is easily good, so that means prepare to die. Jacinda is a really weird spot. When attack hits an enemy hero with 50% or less total HP, boost damage to them by a small amount until battle ends. It sounds like this is supposed to be like for assassins, to execute. Like imagine a Super Saiyan Trunks, you know, skill 2, skill 3, skill 2, maybe ult, and you're pretty low, and he's gonna get ready to skill 1. This should theoretically help him execute, but the threshold and the small boost it gives, it's just not worth it. The Giant Slayer, which, you know, if we're gonna use Super Saiyan Trunks, you theoretically could do more damage again with a Giant Slayer using your full combo than having your combo only proc with 50% less or 50% or less HP. Maybe they can make this, you know, a bit higher, 55, 60, 65, who's to say, just to make it as a better option. You know, maybe they have more squishy teammates or whatever. Make it an option against Giant Slayer. The tank combo cards here in card set 2 of Solid Barrier and Steel Skin are just good. I don't know why this isn't loading that. But Solid Barrier, even though it got nerfed and its cooldown is, you know, have to wait like 10, 15 seconds, it's still incredibly strong, especially with, you know, burst characters that hit you long range, like a Super Saiyan 3, a God Goku, you know, it can help you with assassins like Trunks, 18 hit, all of that. You know, I go this card against a Vegito if I'm playing God Goku, just because I'm scared of getting jumped. Now, the 2 blue card, and Steel Skin is just good overall. I mean, you see it on Kid Buu and all the tanks. It's a perfectly fine card. The blue card sets of Art of Decoy, which I have no idea why this isn't popping up like this. Art of Decoy and Epic Hunter are terrible cards. You will pretty much never go these cards. I don't know. I guess it's just not going to load. Okay, so we'll just zoom in. Epic Hunter is theoretically... Oh, that's not even loading. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that took a while. Anyways, but... Art of Decoy. When you get obstructed by an enemy hero, you get a big boost in movement speed and it reduces vanishing stuff. But you have to be obstructed, which I think is supposed to mean like crowd controlled maybe from an enemy hero. If you need that big burst of movement speed to live, which the only character I can maybe see this on is a Daima Goku, where he uses the big movement speed to get out when he's trying to push. But besides that, you're never seeing this card ever. This is a card I think they honestly might need to rework or just either dramatically buff, because you've never seen this card ever in your life. Then Epic Hunter, I remember people going this when Frieza during Season 0, Season 1, because Frieza was seen as the guy that could solo bosses back when a lot less players were going after bosses right away. But now that more players are becoming more smart and going to bosses right away, and we're having a bunch more damage ults, you know, God Goku's Instant Burst, Kefla's and melting of bosses, you know, Spirit Bomb, Special Beam Cannon, Vegito's ult, even stuff like Krillin's, Buu, even stuff like Zamasu, baby. We have all players are now saving their ults to secure for bosses, so the extra damage you would get from this card pretty much is worthless when at 50% or less HP, you're getting ready to execute the boss of an ultimate. And the fact that you're giving this up, let's say even on a damage character, you're giving this up for a Giant Slayer or a Solid Barrier if you need the tankiness, it's just never worth it. And if you're a technical character, your job's not your job is not supposed to be dealing damage to a boss. Your goal is to annoy the enemy team. Of course, you can still get ready to secure it all depending on the character you're playing, like Kid Buu. But you're not going to be the one doing a bunch of damage to the boss. I think if they want to make this better, get rid of the 50% or less threshold. You can either dramatically increase it to like 80%, or maybe even just make it flat out that you just flat out do more damage to bosses. Because why is it 50% or less for 4 seconds? It's such a useless effect. And I don't know why you would ever go this card over Giant Slayer's Solid Barrier. A lot of the blue cards in this game, like I've said, I really do not like until we get to card set 3, where they actually become kind of crazy. Card set 3 is really interesting because finally the blue technical cards become crazy here with Backstab, which could be good on any character. And we know it's really great on hit. That they literally had a nerf hit because of this card when skill cooldown to reduction. And then Limit Breaking Jump, while not in the best spot in the meta right now, just because another card set 3 card is broken in right now. You were seeing Limit Breaking Jump a lot, and they had to nerf this card as well. So having 2 vanishing steps is always strong. So you have to know a different card has to be insanely broken for a player to not be going Limit Breaking Jump. And that broken card is Defense Step. This card needs to be nerfed. This card is just a much better Solid Barrier on a much shorter cooldown. Gives you mobility that you can use offensively or defensively. And the amount of damage you reduce is insane. I've seen clips of people pretty much tanking a full Trunks ult and losing only like 10% health just because they defense up. This card is absolutely ridiculous and they need to nerf it. Because if you're not going defense up, you're 90% of the time trolling. So many characters can make use of this, and there's very few characters or cases that I would say no to not taking it. You should be always taking this card for Season 4 right now. Who's to say, of course, for Season 5, and I'm saying it should be nerfed. Now, the other 3 cards. Guardian Angel has been useless since the game came out. On paper, it sounds great. You know, if you're a tank, you take some of the nearby allies' damage for them and take it for yourself. That sounds awesome. Just, you never know. This is a card you'll never really notice is the problem. Is you never notice it when you take significant enough damage away from your damage dealer that they can live and output their damage when, you know, they're running defense step, Solid Barrier, whatever, and having their own vanishing step to keep them alive. Either they need to buff how much damage this takes away from your teammates, or something to do with it, which is because it's a card that you never really notice, and anyways, its defense step is right there, at least for this season. The 2 damage cards, they're okay. You know, Wicked Warrior boosts rush attack damage, but especially late game, you're not really rush attacking all too much, right? Like, a character that I thought this would have been great for is Broly, because he gets more damage and strike defense up when his despair gauge is filled out on an enemy. But late game, you're not rush attacking unless it's to secure a kill. Most of the time, especially with Broly, you're skill 2ing, you know, the 3 stops, you're rolling, your skill 3, you skill 2 again. You might pop an ult either at the end of the second skill 2 or earlier than that. And then if you need to secure a kill, you'll use your skill 1. You're not really rush attacking. The character like Kefla, sure, she can rush attack, but the damage that she gets is not really from that. It's from her skill 2, skill 1, or ultimate. All the rush attacks in this game are not that strong, and I think we could even use a character whose main appeal is using rush attacks that can maybe benefit from Wicked Warrior. But in the current state right now of rush attacks and Wicked Warrior, there's just no reason to ever go this, especially with defense up right there. And Pursuer, this could be, you know, interesting. I don't think there's enough, like, I personally have not done enough testing of Pursuer, but again, going full red, it's such a feast or famine move that you can either get extremely exploded right away in a fight and you're just dead, or you'll be doing a bunch of damage when you could be doing a bunch of damage and have some utility with like Solid Barrier defense stuff. So I think Guardian Angel, Pursuer, Wicked Warrior could be changed to be very interesting for a card set 3. The Art of Decoy, Epic Hunter, and Prepare to Die, I think, need to be changed for card set 2. And then Lightning Swift, Strategic Escape, Action High, and Too Easy, I think, need to be changed for card set 1. And they can maybe nerf Super Snowball, Build Up, Giant Slayer, and defense stuff. This is the change I most want to see for Season 5, is reach out, kind of balancing, maybe changing how some the combo cards work, maybe even adding some new combo cards. I think that'd be really cool, because these are essentially the items of the game. So I think that'd be very, very cool to see the combo cards be changed, but that's just for me. The next thing, our next big change I want to see is a retooling of all the base game tanks. You know, changes to Super Saiyan Vegeta, Zamasu, Baby, Cooler, and Caulifla, and Cell. Tank, especially the new releases, which I know most of the new releases have been super strong and not meta, and if not super strong, they've been absolutely meta the fighting, and in some cases absolutely broken. And I think Tank has absolutely had that issue the worst. Super Saiyan Vegeta was easily the best tank in the game and was super broken. Super Saiyan Bardock was the best tank in the game and he was absolutely broken. Super Saiyan God Vegeta is the best tank and he was broken. And we'll talk about Super Saiyan God Vegeta later. The main reason why I think all these post-launch tanks have been so much better than the base game tanks is they're doing a lot of damage, which all of the base game tanks can do. And even characters like Super Saiyan Vegeta and Zamasu, that's kind of their whole thing, is just doing damage while staying alive. Well, the post-launch tanks can do that anyways, but they're providing such strong crowd control and ways to either hinder the enemy team or protect your team, and sometimes both, which... You know, how is a Zamasu supposed to protect your team? How is Zamasu supposed to protect your team? He has this projectile that slows, that has 2 charges. He has some damage that applies continuous damage. He has this skill 2 that can bring people closer to him, but you're not maxing this ability out, and even the hitbox of it is pretty small. And an ultimate that, sure, it makes him immune from wild play and prices big slow. That's probably his best team protection. Him body or regenerating with the gauge, keeping him alive, and if he dies when the gauge is high enough, he'll fully revive. Well, guess what? God Vegeta pretty much does all of that with his passive of regenerating, while dealing much more damage thanks to skill 1, his rush attacks, and his skill 2. He could then protect the team with his skill 2, skill 1, skill 3. Skill 1 stealing the attack of enemies. Skill 2 bringing enemies closer to him, so if let's just say they're chasing your damaged characters, they'll be brought over to you, and if they're trying to run away, they'll be brought over to you. Or skill 3 that he stuns the enemy and they can't escape. On top of that, having an ultimate that stuns. And I'm not even talking about how wide range this could be, letting him have absolute map dominance. Just on paper, why would you ever pick Zamasu over God Vegeta when God Vegeta does everything Zamasu's kind of built to do? And that's an issue that a lot of the base game tanks have. You know, Super Saiyan Vegeta and Zamasu are supposed to be these tanks that honestly feel like damage characters just beefed up to all hell with tank stats. And Super Saiyan Vegeta can regen himself against lower cooldowns. Zamasu is supposed to be the immortal tank that can revive, but all these base game tanks don't have much team protection. Cell's team protection is his skill 2 stun, which an enemy needs to be facing away from him to do. And his ultimate that blocks energy attacks and potentially can leave an enemy in there. But besides that, there's not much team protection compared to bringing enemies closer, stealing their attacks, stunning them with skill 3, skill, and ult. Super Saiyan Vegeta has the wall that can block energy projectiles and even stop people from running away. The skill 2 that displaces, and if Super Saiyan Vegeta hits an enemy towards a wall, it stuns them. Skill 1 that can bring him closer, and his ultimate that knocks people away. Bardock with his skill 1, you know, knocking people dramatically away. Skill 2 that is this giant circle that applies to taunt to enemies that can protect your team, keep them annoying. A skill 3 that gives them high mobility and stunning, and an ult that knocks people away super far, on top of a passive that gives him more damage and damage take and receive. The base game tanks need something to make them stand out against these new releases, you know. Baby needs a lot of help. Maybe you can make his skill 3 stronger. Maybe they can make his skill 2, have him be able to rush attack, his skill 1 knockback further, maybe an ult that can apply some health to the team. I don't know. Cooler, I've always felt Cooler was like supposed to be the offensive tank, so if they want to keep him the exact same, that's fine. They'll always take Cooler buffs just because he does have that strong skill 2 that applies the immobilization to the whole team where they can't use any movement skills or they'll be stunned. I think that's very strong. if they want to make cooler and offensive tank, because I do think the tanks need to be different enough. They need to provide different aspects to make them worth playing. You don't want all these tanks to just be team protection, unkillable gods. That would be kind of boring. But you still want them to be able to stand up against these new releases. You know, I think an example is Khalifa, who seemingly does have some team protection with her provoking that makes enemies target you instead and deal less damage than a skill 3 that blocks energy release or blocks energy attacks. But there's just not enough here. Maybe if Khalifa skill 2s them, they can maybe get potentially stunned or silenced for a bit, or maybe apply a taunt or something. Because why would you ever pick Khalifa over a God Vegeta up Bardock or Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, you know? I just want changes to the base game tanks, their base roster tanks, so they can actually be worth something. That they could actually be, you could be incentivized to play them over the brand new tank releases, because all the new tank releases have been incredibly overpowered just because of how strong of tools and crowd control they have compared to the base game tanks. That's the second most important thing that I want. Next, we're gonna talk about the other two roles of tank technical and damage. Before Kid Buu came out, and we'll get to Kid Buu and God Goku and God Vegeta, technical felt like in a pretty good spot. Majin Buu, you know, good Majin Buu, felt pretty strong, especially with skill cooldown 2 reduction, where he felt like a must play if you got skill cooldown 2 reduction. He felt pretty strong. Kid Gohan, while nerfed, still felt like a strong option, and obviously you have the cheats, his Quickie Hammer, which is really annoying, which we'll get to. He still felt like an okay, pretty strong option. Not obviously the best where he once was, but pretty decently strong. Android 17, who's been getting buffed non-stop, felt really good. He was finding a good spot with providing the shielding support and the damage he could do. He felt really strong. Hit with skill, he's been one of the best technical characters since the game came out. And we've paired that with skill cooldown 2 reduction, where he had an infinite combo. Even with the nerfs to hit and the range of his skill 2, he still felt really strong. And they eventually reverted that nerf anyway. So he's still in a really strong position. There's just Kid Buu is just an absolute counter to him. Gotenks, after everyone kind of downplaying him and complaining that he's too weak, is now I think getting a better position, you know, either due to meta or people just changing the abilities they max on him. Gotenks felt like in a pretty decent spot. An Ultimate Gohan, even though they changed his skill 2 to now players have to manually aim instead of being auto-targeted, which I think is the main reason you've seen a lot less Ultimate Gohan, is still incredibly strong. And if Kid Buu wasn't absolutely overpowered, I think Ultimate Gohan would be in a pretty good spot. Obviously, Krillin seemingly got weirdly nerfed this season with his energy mines, and the fact that there's so many energy beams that can just explode his mines is bad. And then Frieza also got nerfed. His armor's damage got a lot less. Frieza's ultimate now applies continuous damage over time instead of attack down. Besides these two, which you could buff Krillin and Frieza, technical felt fine before Kid Buu. Then for damage, we'll talk about God Goku, but damage also feels kind of fine. There's a lot more characters here that need to be adjusted, but like Super Saiyan Goku's in a pretty good spot. Trunks is a good anti-meta pick. Piccolo, you need to be really good with him, so maybe they wanted to buff him a tiny bit, especially considering they've made it so it's a lot harder for him to just charge up and get his free boss to cure his special beam cannon, especially with Jackie Chube now. And characters like Vegeta running around, he is falling down a bit, so if they wanted to buff him a bit, I'd be fine with that, but he's still obviously super strong. AT needs buff. The Boros probably needs buffs even more, even though he's really annoying to fight as a tank. Oob has been super strong. Could be nerfed. Bojack, think's in a fine spot if they wanted to buff him. Sure, go ahead. Mini Goku needs to be nerfed. Kale, I think's in a fine spot if they want to buff or nerf for take it or leave it. Gammas, I think, are so strong. They just need, especially with skill cooldown 2 reduction before it got nerfed, it's just not the right meta for them. Super Saiyan 3 Goku saw a big resurgence and maybe even deserves to be nerfed. Toppo needs to be buffed. Broly needs to be buffed. Vegeta could probably get nerfed. And I think Hefla's kind of fine. They want to nerf her a bit. That's fine. So, like, damage is probably some of the closest it's been in terms of balancing. Don't get me wrong. There's still obviously a meta. I mean, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Mini Goku, Oob, Vegito, God Goku are some of the best damage dealers in the game right now. And if you wanted to bring them down, especially with nerfing Mini Goku Skill 3, this ability is one of the most busted abilities in the game. Being able to nullify so much damage, being able to get strike defense or energy defense up, and this movement speed up he gets is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But there's, I was saying 18 desperately needs to be buffed. Topa needs to desperately be buffed. And the board needs to be buffed, and Broly needs to be desperately buffed. For Broly, he only gets strike defense up with the spare gauge field. Just make this all defense up. There's a reason you've seen a lot less of Broly. It's just because he gets absolutely melted by beams because he doesn't get that energy defense up. Just make this all defense up, and I think it'll really help him out a lot. Topo needs a lot. I think 18 also needs a good amount. It's just more HP, blah blah blah. But damage, well, any worse position than technical is in an okay spot. Obviously, there's a lot of adjustments that need to be happen, but I already said the buffs and nerfs I want, but there's two important things that need to be happen for Season 5. First, nerfing the Season 4 characters. Nerf God Goku, nerf God Vegeta, nerf Kid Buu. These characters have been meta-defining and absolutely broken. And what really sucks is God Goku did not release this way. God Goku was, I felt like, released at a kind of the perfect power level where he felt good, had his weaknesses, he was not the best damage he could do in the game. Players were maybe saying he's like 4th, 5th, 6th best. He had his clear strengths, being able to do a lot of damage from super far range, his ult being, map wide is strong, his strong burst versus empowered skill, his skill 2 background power, his skill 1 or skill 2, especially empowered skill 3, skill 1 can absolutely nuke people in the past without regens his cooldown, so he gets a bunch more burst options. He felt a strong release, but felt fine. Then they buffed him the first time, and I said, okay, I guess. Players were saying that he might have been a bit too weak. It was hard to play him on console and mobile. And since he wasn't a strong damage dealer, Oob was still running around. Super Vegeta was still running around. I think this is before Kefla got nerfed. Bardock got buffed randomly for some reason and is now running the tank role. I can get why they buffed God Goku the first time, I guess. Even though they had God Vegeta coming along the way, which dramatically helps God Goku, and we'll get to him. Why did we buff God Goku a second time? The character did not need the second buffs. God Vegeta was out at this point, who dramatically buffs God Goku. And any character that just kind of wants to sit long range, like God Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. God Goku did not need a second round of buffs. He really did it. It even fixed one of his biggest problems with his ult cooldown, where if you use it to secure bosses, you may not have it in time for the next boss if you didn't use it while you're passive Red Fury's up. Now, by the time you ult to secure a boss, it's gonna be up. And that was one of God Goku's, I think, greatest weaknesses. Now it's just his low mobility. So hopefully they nerf God Goku, because this character does so much damage from long range to burst and everything. And he got dramatically buffed by God Vegeta's release, where this character is stupid. I'm all down for a sustained tank that wants to be in a fight for long and is maybe even incentivized to stay in a fight due to their passive. But the regen that God Vegeta gets is insane, and even questions why the hell is a monster in this game if God Vegeta is just an infinitely better regen tank. He brings unique stuff to the table, stealing, attacking, and applying a stun, a kind of targeted stun that you need high movement speed to get out of. This skill 2, really strong. I think this ability is fine. And then an ultimate that a global teleporting stun is absolutely insane. And like I was saying during the tank section, God Vegeta just absolutely dominated the tank role. It's hard to play other tanks into God Vegeta, especially now that they nerfed Bardock for God Vegeta's release. I hope they nerf God Vegeta, and these two lanes, the God Duo lane, bot lane, has been absolutely insane, and hopefully both these characters need to get nerfed. And I was saying earlier, technical felt like it was in a good spot until Kid Buu came out. Now, I love Kid Buu. I wanted him during Season 3. I'm so glad he's here, and he's so much fun to play with all the parts, the hooks, the damage he can do, his ultimate. But he is absolutely broken and constantly shuts down the entire technical cast. Kid Buu absolutely destroys everyone here. Krillin, you hook Krillin, you're gonna do a bunch of damage. Maybe even your skill 3 destroys the mines. I'm not too sure. Majin Buu, good. If a Kid Buu gets the hook on him, you're dead. That Majin Buu, his healing's gonna be gone. He's been doing a bunch of damage. And another problem is the parts of Kid Buu puts on are really annoying when they can take hits for Kid Buu. Like a Majin Buu good skill 1 where he throws up the gum will get blocked by Kid Buu parts. It's really annoying. Kid Gohan, again, stun the hook in the Kid Gohan, or are you just gonna out damage him? Frieza, you just use your skill 3, damage Frieza and Zaba the door. 17, you're gonna out damage him. Hit can't go invisible because Kid Buu would just use his skill 3 and it'll take hit out of his visibility and then hits dead. Gotenks, you'll out damage and do a bunch more damage. Ultimate Gohan's probably the best technical into Kid Buu just because Ultimate Gohan can stun him into oblivion, and if Kid Buu starts proccing his skill 3, Ultimate Gohan can use his skill 3 to apply the fear to Kid Buu to stop the skill 3. But this character is absolutely insane, the damage he could do, and it's still absolutely insane. A great boss secure, great just team debuff or enemy debuff. It's insane. They need to nerf all 3 of these characters, and we have this issue with Squadra where all the newest releases have been absolutely game-breaking, game-defining. So probably they'll nerf these characters just to make the Season 5 characters much more appealing. Kid Buu is still a lot of fun, so I'm going to be playing him a lot. But yeah, Kid Buu, God Vegeta, and Gaia Goku need to be nerfed. The last big change I want to see for Season 5 is a change to the Divine Draw system. Now, obviously, we should be like 99% getting new Divine Draws, and some Divine Draws need to go. And I'm pretty sure they've only gotten, for every other season, they've gotten rid of 2 or 3 every season. So these are the 3 I want to see gone the most. I want to see Cloud Cover gone. This is just not fun to play against, not really that fun to play. Hiding your positioning on the map is insane and makes it just really hard to stop players from running away from you, running into you, just because you can't target them with rush attacks, so you can't apply that special animation. And you have attacks that need a target. Well, you can't do it now against these players because of Cloud Cover, and they can push and get max action bursts. They pretty much turn into hit skill 3 invisible the whole time. It's super unfun to play against, and I want it gone from the game. The next Divine Draw is Mystery HP. I do not like Divine Draws that hide information like this. This is just really annoying. I've never liked this during Season 3, and I hope it gets gone. And the final one, no surprise, Squeaky Hammer. Get this Divine Draw out of the game. What were they thinking with this? Squeaky Hammer just goes against their whole ideology. I don't know why I struggle so much to say that. With Gekishin Burst and even pushing in this game, just because the whole purpose of it was so easy to push during the first initial beta Project Multi, and especially if you had range, it was so easy to get Gods of Destruction, so they changed the Gekishin Burst. We now need to pull up to the God of Destruction and use your cooldowns to push. So you now run this risk of, okay, if I use this cooldown, especially with your ultimate for max Gekishin Burst, yes, it applies a shield to your team and does a lot of damage to a God of Destruction, but now you don't have your ultimate. And it also makes it so you can easier to defend. And then Squeaky Hammer just says, no, nope. And you've all dealt with cheese of like a Super Saiyan Goku, Kid Gohan, or just... You can't deny this push at all if they have the hammers. The only thing you can do is deny them from getting the hammers, which is going to be really hard. And the more coordinated a queue is, the more players they have in a stack, makes it impossible to deal with. I mean, there's a reason a lot of players are just not playing the game when this Divine Draw shows up. They will forcibly close the game and risk waiting minutes upon a time, or even just so they don't have to play Squeaky Hammers. They need to move this, and I'm sure they will, considering they saw all the hate for Golden Cell Juniors and they got rid of that. So I'm sure they'll get rid of this Divine Draw, but I still can't believe this in the game. Now, there are 2 that I wouldn't mind seeing gone. One of them is Medical Respawn. This has been here since Season 2. I think it's annoying having to deal with it. It could just be hard to make comebacks where you might finally shut someone down, but then they just get res. So like, what's the point? It's just annoying. They've nerfed it, so it's a bit more tolerable to deal with, but it's still not that annoying, or still not that fun to play against. So I'm fine with getting it on. And I didn't just want to talk about this just because I've kind of flip-flopped on this. I do not know how I feel about Search Trap. This is a Divine Draw that, if they wanted to keep in the game, I think just nerf how much damage it does. There's no reason this should be doing half your health. Sure, yes, it's easy to dodge, and if you're truly paying attention, you could just easily dodge it. It's kind of a non-factor. Yes. But it's still annoying to deal with, and I think if they want to keep in the game, just nerf how much health it does, because I don't know why it does half your health. I think doing 25% or 30%, 40 at most is already perfectly fine. I don't know why it does half your health, but if we're only removing 3 Divine Jaws, remove Cloud Cover, remove Mystery HP, remove Squeaky Hammer. And if they were truly smart, they remove Team Rush Go just to make it a system mechanic. But that's just me. If they want to always keep Team Rush Go, I'm perfectly fine with that. If there's 2 that should always stay, it's Superstart and Team Rush Go. Those are Divine Jaws that should always stay. But those are the 3 I want removed, and that's kind of all the changes I want. You know, rebalancing of the Divine Combo cards, buffing all the base game tanks, buffing some of the lower tier damage characters like 18, the Bora, Broly, Topo, and nerfing some of the top tier ones like God Goku, Mini Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then nerfing the 3 Season 4 releases of God Goku, God Vegeta, Kid Buu, as well as removing these Divine Jaws. And who's to say I'll even like the new Divine Jaws? Hopefully I will. I think the Divine Jaw system is very interesting in this game, and there's talks if it should stay in the game, or if it should just be fully removed and ranked. That's a different video for a different time, but those are all the changes I want to see for Season 5. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see. Shout out Shay McCoy for the background music. Oh my god, I've been ranting for 36 minutes. I did not realize. I am so sorry, but if you made it to this point in the video, let me know down in the comments, and as well as any other potential changes you want to see for Season 5, because I'm genuinely interested, and we'll be finding out very shortly what changes they plan to do for Season 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. It'd mean a lot to me. Stay tapped in the channel if you want to stay up with everything Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra. I'm going to be covering everything you need to know for Season 5, so if you want to stay up to date with the game, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!